Hello. Today I was listening to a Gen Z woman talking about sort of things that people in her generation kind of face, and the things they tend to be going through, and the various sorts of anxieties and social problems and things that they experience. And it was really interesting. I mean, apart from the fact that it was really good to hear a young person of that generation speaking so um, perceptively and with such sense about things, which was just good to hear. It doesn't surprise me, but it's just like it's good to hear it. Um, but something did really strike me, and that was that, and I've noticed this before, both with millennials and with Gen Z people. There's a lot that I can really empathize with about them. Yeah, a lot that I find oddly in common, though obviously I grew up at a different time and faced different things to them. Uh, but there's a lot that I actually feel in common with them in many ways. Um, it's just that I grew up at a different time, so I had different circumstances and different things that would put, you know, different pressures and different, but things that would put different pressures, but also give me different kinds of help or balancings. But what really struck me was that this woman was talking about Gen Z people in general. Yeah, like so you're basically talking about heterosexuals. Yeah, because that's what most people are. And yet, I felt a great deal of recognition of the things that she was talking about with my experiences when I was younger, as a gay boy and as a young gay man, um, who was aware in many ways at an instinctive level of what I was looking for, and was not finding it in the mainstream society because there wasn't very much of a place there at the time, and in anything that depicted itself as gay society, absolutely even less so. Yeah. Um, and what really struck me was that what I faced as a gay man looking for a life in the late 1970s and 1980s, yeah, was that if I was looking for it in the gay community, it was a community which was fractured, um, caught up in strange ideas, and was the result of a kind of cultural revolution, in a sense. And as such, there were all sorts of things which sounded like they should be good or liberating, but the reality was not. The reality was isolating, yeah. And there were all sorts of things which were simply not answered to because, in a sense, as a gay man, you wanted to have a good life. You wanted to be included in the world of nature and society and to have a full life. And yet, what was offered to you was not that. It was this revolution, in a sense, this cultural revolution. Yeah. And so it was the opposite of what you wanted, actually. In fact, it was destructive. And it strikes me that these younger generations have now grown up in a world which itself has undergone a kind of cultural revolution, and which similarly has all sorts of ideas which might on the surface sound liberating or possibly exciting, or well, I don't know. It's just how things seem to be, yeah. But actually, they don't answer to people's deeper needs, which are perennial and which have always been pretty much the same. And so, it really struck me how, as a gay man and a gay boy in the 70s and say and 70s and 80s, what I was suffering from in retrospect was the fact that all that was offered was a kind of post-cultural revolution world. Yeah. And it was a nightmare. It was awful. And I think what these kids now have and what these young adults now have sadly, is a much wider post-cultural revolutionary world. And this is not a good thing. But it's good to see that people are questioning it, because believe me, you don't want it. You don't want this. You have to find your way back to the perennial values and the perennial things which will give you a good life. So that was just my reflection for now.